Get off my reins! Get off the reins!
The inside story of the Royal Guards. You are getting ready to take a photo in front of Buckingham Palace. Suddenly, a soldier in a red uniform, standing tall, turns to you and shouts sternly, "Make way for the King's Guard!" Make way for the King's Guard. What was calm just seconds ago suddenly turns tense. Why are they reacting so harshly and so suddenly?
Make way! Stand clear! Get off my throne, man! Get off the reins!
The Royal Guard is not just there for show. They are also responsible for ensuring security. That's why they issue loud warnings like, "Make way for the King's Guard," to tourists who violate their mandate or get too close to them. This is actually a traditional way of saying, "Please move away, I have to do my duty." But of course, tourists who hear it for the first time may be surprised and not know what to do.
Make way! Get off my horse's head! Make way! Make way! The King's Lifeguard!
Tourists sometimes try to touch these uniformed soldiers or get too close for a selfie. Some even reach out their hands just to see the texture of his hat. In such a case, the guards yell at them in the harshest of tones, demanding immediate distance from them. The funny thing is that the shouted tourists usually jump back in panic, while everyone around starts recording the moment with their phones. The most interesting scenes take place where the guards have horses. During large-scale changing of the guard ceremonies, tourists who cross the path of the horses or try to pet them are immediately met with a stern look and shout from the guards. "Stand back!" the soldier shouts to ensure his own safety and the safety of the visitors. Sometimes, however, these warnings can cause a little panic beyond bewilderment.
Oi, I said move from there! Make way! Get off the handgate! Make way!
The Royal Guard's tough stance is not only a tradition, but also a necessity. A tourist who tries to get too close can be perceived as a potential threat. They have to be alert in case of an attack or an unexpected move. Moreover, as they are real soldiers of the British Army, they react clearly to any violation of the rules due to their strict disciplinary training. Of course, sometimes these harsh shouts can be quite funny for those watching. Especially on the internet, the videos spread rapidly and are watched millions of times. However, it is important to remember this. These behaviours of the guards are part of their responsibility to protect both the monarch and the region. For tourists, it is also a good, "Don't come any closer, stop" and warning.
Make way! Make way!
In fact, underlying the Royal Guard's caution is a disciplinary approach that goes back centuries. In the past, the security of the monarch was seen as directly related to the stability of the state. This is why these soldiers are trained and prepared for duty in such a way that they cannot miss even the slightest suspicious movement. Especially when large groups of tourists are approaching, the guards must quickly establish perimeter control. It is most effective to give a short and clear warning when someone is about to step unintentionally into a dangerous area. Another point to remember is that each of these soldiers is an active soldier. In other words, no matter how splendid their ceremonial attire, the essence is military discipline. The way they move, speak and give warnings are concrete examples of this discipline. Some visitors think that the guards' long periods of inactivity are just a demonstration. but it requires extraordinary concentration and patience. Although they may look tough on the outside, it is precisely this seriousness that these people take to their work. The areas around the palace are strategic areas that must be officially protected. Standing guard close to the buildings where the royal family resides requires being prepared for any surprise situation. It is therefore normal for them to react immediately to the slightest infraction of the rules.
Out of the way, please, guys. Out of the way, please. Make way! Make way!
It can sometimes be a nuisance for tourists to see these soldiers as touchable tourist objects. In reality, in any contact or dangerous approach, the soldiers are also ready to defend. This is the reality behind the traditional stance.
Make way! Make way for the king's life!
Although the way the guard reacts can be a little harsh, it is based on training and protocol. In their duty to protect the crown and its environment, they must adhere to certain standards. Likewise, visitors are expected to respect these standards. One sometimes wonders why the Guardians are so strict. If we understand exactly what they are charged with, it turns out that this rigidity is actually a defense mechanism applied when necessary. Obviously, being vigilant rather than appearing tough is not a choice for them, but a necessity. It is early in the morning. The area around Buckingham Palace is as crowded as ever. A police officer is trying to keep the people passing by the palace in order when his eye falls on a man. Despite all warnings, the man insists on touching the royal guard's horse. The police officer gently approaches him and reminds him to keep his distance and that the horse is on duty. The man, however, pays no attention to these words. He reaches out again and tries to touch the horse's neck and helmet. Meanwhile, a second royal guard is standing a few meters away. The man tries to go and touch the other guard's horse too, even though he has been removed from the first guard. Again, there is a gentle but firm warning. Please do not approach the horses. The man still does not stop, and as he persistently reaches out his hand, other visitors in the vicinity begin to feel uneasy. The police officer once again intervenes and gently tries to pull him back. From the outside, this may look like a simple altercation, but it creates a serious security concern for the Royal Guard and the police. To understand why the Royal Guard reacted harshly, it is important to remember the discipline and sense of duty we mentioned earlier. These soldiers, with their horses, are both ceremonial and protective. Although the interest of tourists is innocent and curiosity-driven, such uncontrolled approaches can lead to unexpected situations. As you can see in this case, the police and the guard are actually trying to explain the seriousness of the matter, while insistently trying to drive away the person who warned them. The main purpose is to ensure the safety of both the visitors and the horses, and not to disrupt the Royal Guard's duty.